Morning, everyone. Welcome back. Richard, good morning, Richard, Skylar, A. Ghost. Good morning, everyone. Ghost Flower, are you new to the channel? I'm not sure I've seen you in the chat before. If you are, welcome. If not, my apologies. Sleeping Tiger, good morning. All right, Tehran. Thomas, good morning. Okay, Ghost. Didn't realize it. Excellent, excellent. Well, glad to have you again this morning. And so far, today's daily calendar has not moved at all. We're pretty much where we started yesterday. We're just taking a look at the daily chart, weekly chart. So that means the weekly chart is essentially yesterday, it's a daily candle. And then I go to the 4 hour. We've already taken out yesterday's high, the afternoon high that we saw when we saw price expand between 3:30 and basically when we got off. I think it kept going a little bit longer to maybe around 4:30, but then it tailed off there. So that was the daily high for yesterday. We just took that this morning with this price action here up here at 18,201 and a half. I believe that's what the high was. And it was 18,201 was the high. So we just eclipsed that at 905. Now the question is, will we continue higher? Remember, there's no high or medium impact news today. Get rid of my screen there. Okay, so here's Tuesday. We have nothing as far as medium and high impact. For anyone concerned with low impact, I throw it up on the screen. RCM tip, economic optimism. Not sure what that is. Consumer credit month over month. These are low impact numbers. Never really pay attention to those. Right. Sniper Milad, JR, Mia. Good morning. Welcome. All right, so now let's take a look at our comparison of the different indices. Just make sure that what we just saw on ES, I'm sorry, on NQ is similar to what ES and the Dow are also doing. So I just mentioned that we took the high from yesterday, just now, just barely got it. We looked down at ES. I'm not sure how many of you are ES traders. High of ES didn't, it did expand during 3 o'clock yesterday, but it didn't have that 4 o'clock expansion. However, it looks like just before midnight. So the high of yesterday was actually here before midnight started. But actually, let's take the high of yesterday as 1700. So when reopened at 1800 before midnight, it had already taken the high, retraced back to the fair value gap, moved even higher during the London session this morning. This is the 4 a.m. candle, retraced back down to the previous day's high, and now has expanded again, taking London's high just this hour. So that's not the same as what we see on Nasdaq. So looking at the three, we would say definitely at this moment, Nasdaq will be the weaker of these two. So if you're looking at today and you're heavily bullish, you may want to look at ES as the pair to trade, as they are out in front as far as being relative strength is concerned. And weakness would belong to NQ this morning. So if you're bearish and you're looking for shorts, this may be where you want to trade. Right now, it has not invalidated the fair value gap here. It's still finding support. However, it's not finding enough energy to push higher. We'll see what this hour brings, but it just took out yesterday's high, and that's about it so far. So not a lot to really discuss. As far as NQ is concerned, we're still bullish, but we need to see price action support that narrative. But we do see it in the S&P. And as far as the Dow is concerned, let's do the same thing for the Dow and see from yesterday's high. Okay, so yeah, Dow's high from yesterday was actually 9 a.m. in the morning. Okay, this starts the London session at 2 o'clock. So we saw London take it out, retrace back down to the previous day high, and now is on pace. It looks like this hour's candle just may take over the London high, and we'll see it continue to push higher. So we see similar things happening on the Dow as well as S&P. Nasdaq is trailing behind a bit. So we'll this morning monitor and see if Nasdaq can catch up or if it continues to show weakness. At the far left, if we look at the dollar, let's do the same thing. Rates. This was the high, and this is another thing. When we were getting off yesterday, I was looking. I said, "Wow, we just had this big momentum push from Nasdaq after just kind of crawling around all day during 3 o'clock, 3:30. It really started to push. We saw the same thing on S&P, the Dow not so much. But when I looked over at the dollar, I said, "Wow, they're buying as well." So we weren't even in sync, even though the trade was a nice trade and we got good price action. We weren't even in sync because the dollar was also buying. Looks like it opened up at 1800, traded back into the previous day high, expanded, heading into London, retrace, expanded once again, making a new high, and now we see it sweep the low here. So in this case, we'll be looking at a bearish breaker here. On the hourly for the dollar. Now this isn't confirmed. It looks like we just may get a unicorn set up, but this is again not confirmed until the hour is up. We have another 33 minutes to see if this bearish fair value gap will hold. So I'll continue to check on it, and we'll come back right around 10 o'clock just to see where the dollar is trading. And at that time, I'll make any adjustments to this fair value gap that needs to be made. But we do have a bearish breaker that formed, also confirmed during the 8 o'clock hour. And so now we just kind of watch it and see if it holds as it trades back inside, because we're going to be looking for a sweep of this low at 105.28, potentially landing down in this fair value gap. So if we're bearish on the dollar, that means, like I said earlier, we are bullish on indices. But being bullish alone is not enough. We need the indices to actually trade bullish today and show support in areas that we expected and show expansion where in areas that we expected. So I'll stop there. We'll have the opening bell in about 2 minutes. Following the opening bell, we'll give the opening range some time to spread its wings a bit, and then we'll have the macro start at 9:50 until 10:10. At 10 o'clock again, I'll check back to see if this fair value gap is still holding for lower prices in the dollar. Right. Let's see who else we got. Jonathan, HCE. Man, what's up? Good morning. Low Ridge, good morning. What's up? All right, here's the opening bell. All right, push down which first. Let's watch the first couple seconds here. Or the first couple minutes on the 30-second, just so we can see how price is being delivered. When you see it on the 5-minute, you're not sure if it moved down first or traded up first, especially when it goes both ways. First things first, looks like we had a trade into this range. All right, so it's April 15th lunch high and traded to now, which is also more than likely the April 15th high. So we had a lot of bearish fair value gaps coming from April 15th. So this was probably made a lunch high and then probably sold off heavily during the afternoon. Okay. Simon Queen, good morning. All right, looks like we got a bullish moment here. So I'm going to switch back to the 5-minute now. Just wanted to show how the candle works, where to push both directions. Where if you were bullish, you still could have been stopped out here, even though this push down really wasn't that far. It was 10, 12 points maybe. Now, if we sweep that high or if we push a little lower. Looking for a close below 219. Let's see, 720 to 820, Richard. There it is. Bingo. 720 to 820. Oh, yeah, Richard, I noticed that before the session started and I went ahead and drew it in. So, yep, you're absolutely right. I already drew that in as well. The retracement back down to consequent encroachment and then lift off from there, right at 830. So maybe similar to like I look for a breaker for the 930 to trade into. Maybe we should also start looking for breakers for the 830 to trade into, because 830 seems to be, even on a day like today where there's no news announcement at 830, there still is some activity happening. But yep, good eye, Richard. Good job. I didn't draw in the unicorn portion though. Here, I missed this part. Bingo. Yep. Trade right back into it. You could have taken the entry right at the fair value gap at 163. You could have waited to consequent encroachment of the breaker at 161. You could have even taken at the top of the breaker at 166. And your target would have likely been here, 199. So about 33 points, which looked like it took about 35 to 40 minutes to achieve. But that would have been what you would have aimed for, the previous swing high. Good eye, Richard. Good eye. Let's get back down to the 30-second. I noticed that a breaker possibly was forming when we got up here. It made the high. And then I noticed this high candle here, even though it made a new high, the candle body closed below this wick. So I thought potentially it may want to turn around. And so that's why I was waiting to see if it would confirm a breaker. Traded into it. The only thing is it may not be a deep retracement. Right? So you possibly could have got in here at 219. But you might want to exit here at 205. So it wasn't going to be a long trade here. All right, let me see if we have equal lows somewhere. Well, we have relative equal lows, so maybe you could target the actual bottom, 197, or right here. Probably not. The opening bell traded down into this S&D zone here, so maybe we won't trade that far. Since we know also that 930 likes to do what ICT calls a Judas swing, this also could be a way to identify what that is and where it is. But I'm not good at trading the Judas swing, so this is just me looking at price action and hypothetically throwing out where things may land, but it may not work out that way. Here we have a breaker, but no unicorn. I do not see a fair value gap anywhere. Hey, Ray, good morning. Lisa, good morning. Hey, Caesar, good morning. Hey, Dorsey, what's up? Good morning. Hey, Brad, what's going on? Oh, Judas swing. Oh, it's kind of like a fake move at the opening bell where price runs one direction, maybe takes out a target or some pool of liquidity, and then turns around and reverses. And what we had this morning was April 15th lunch high was still available. Let me see if I can rewind. Get that. Can't remember where that level was. Price traded right into it. There it is. So we had the opening bell here at 9:30, traded lower first, satisfying, balancing this area here. And immediately went and took out this pool of liquidity from April 15th. And then right after it took that level on this candle, then it started the reversal pattern. But as I mentioned, I'm not a Judah swing trader. I don't take the setup. I don't even look for the setup. So this is this is my little stab at it. So maybe someone else in the group who trades this way on a regular basis may be able to provide you a little bit more information. Okay. Let's get back over to the 5 minute here. All right, 9:45, everyone. All right. I brought it back just to show the level, but it's interesting that so far we have not had candle bodies violate this level, even though we have had the level traded to. It hasn't been traded through just yet. Now on the 32nd, we did see the reversal pattern, which was this candle body down, this 5 minute candle. But possibly it's satisfied what it needed to do, and now it wants to trade up again. In about 3 minutes, 3 minutes, and we'll be into the 950 to 1010 macro. J Stores, good morning. You're mostly watching this morning, Ray. Okay. You say the 75% of the hour SIBI aligns with constant encroachment of the week. Okay. Yeah, Ray, the level I'm watching is 304. 304 and a quarter, I think. That's a consequent encroachment of a daily um, order block. Or maybe it's 307, 307 and a half, maybe. Let me go back to the 30-second again. Where's that breaker I drew? I think it was here. Okay, so it did get invalidated slightly. Half a tick and immediately reclaimed. And this go around, we did get a unicorn. Or did we? Consequent encroachment of the fair value gap is right on the April 15th high. So let's get rid of this for now. And now we're in the macro. Or 30 seconds ago. Hey, there's a 30 points off the breaker. I like to see 30 points. Down to the midnight open. Very predictable. Oh, I forgot to mention, I did check the highs and lows from the sessions this morning. They were all traded to already. London high and low, Asia high and low. They had already been traded to. And that was because we had a seek and destroy sort of set up this morning. If you take a look at the 5-minute. So we had a high. We had a high, we had low, to a higher high, to a lower low. And prior to that, was consolidation below the London high. So all of these would have been your Asia sessions. In fact, Asia starts at 8 o'clock. Yep. So this would have been Asia session heading into midnight. Was swept by the London high. Then the London low made sure any of the lows were swept, and then it came back, took out the previous London high, took out the previous London low, created the breaker that Richard pointed out, and then we saw expansion. So that left us without any session highs and lows this morning as we opened up for price to trade to. So what it did is it took out the April 15th lunch high that had been sitting there for 3 weeks. And immediately once it took that level, it traded back to the midnight open, and that's where we are now. Get back to the 1 minute while we're in the macro. Okay. So far on the dollar, that level we looked at earlier, and I told you that the fair value gap will not be confirmed until after the hour is complete. looks like so far has not traded back to that fair value gap at all. So it's the same size it was earlier. So, but we'll still check back in about 5 minutes just to confirm that that's true. All right, Jay Stores, good job. You and Queen both having winning trades in the last 15, 20 minutes. Yep. Kay Dorsey, what's your entry model? What type of trader are you? Consolidation plus manipulation, then displacement on the 30s. Currently sitting right above a 15-minute breaker in discount. Oh, okay, Johnson. Check that out. Mhm. All right. Since we are looking at this entire price leg, let's do a couple things here. First thing, let's measure the entire leg and see where we are. And this is taking the leg from starting around 7:30ish. We've already tapped when we traded down to the midnight open. We passed equilibrium into discount, and here we are once again in discount. Hmm, sweet. All right. So if we go from there, just barely made it into discount. If we start after the return to the breaker, which is really the expansion part of the leg, also taken off from the 8:30 open. Also, we're in discount, but the midnight open represents 61.8, so it represents OTE. Yep, and this yellow area is the new day opening gap. Sure, some of you already figured that out, but those unfamiliar, new day opening gap is here in yellow. If you see lime green is a new week opening gap. But the new day opening gap is in yellow. Back, make it easy for you. Higher time frame order block to be hit. Okay. And then take my trade. Okay. Got it. Sweet. This ain't 3 and 5 minute. All right, Queen. Thanks for that update. Okay, we're at 10 o'clock now. So let's quickly jump over. Oh, I realized I never pulled my camera back up. Sorry about that, everyone. Well, let's quickly do this and then I'll throw my camera back up. All right. So this is the fair value gap we were looking at that closed just a minute ago. And we saw this candle trading. We wanted to make sure it didn't trade back into it, making it smaller. And it didn't. It closed down here. So we do still have this fair value gap here, coupled with the breaker, giving us, as I mentioned before, a unicorn on the hourly for the dollar. So I'm expecting this to be a strong area that will reject price. But I do need to confirm that that actually happens. So it'll be something that I'll continue to trade to look back at throughout the morning and just make sure that things are still on the up and up, and we are seeing lower prices there. And because of that, if things are moving the way we want to, then we'll look for longs in our other indices. I did see that Dow made somewhat of a comeback, sweeping highs from about 6 o'clock this morning, which was good because that's what the other indices were doing during the 9 o'clock hour. So it's good to see the Dow catch up in that regard. All right, we're seeing retracement this hour thus far. For the S&P and for Nasdaq, we saw a big push up. I didn't check to see if S&P took out a pool of liquidity from back in April like Nasdaq did. But once that happened, we do see a rejection coming from that area. So it took out yesterday's high, and then it took out the April 15th high somewhere up here. And then we started seeing prices push lower. So now that prices are back to where they began this morning, back into this little consolidation zone, we'll see exactly where price wants to trade to. It could be just sort of a balancing of this right here. So we could find support, and I'm expecting us to find support here in the fair value gap. So I'll be looking for some sort of reversal pattern down in the mid 160s. There we go. $86.25. Okay, while we were watching and taking a peek at the other indices, we traded down to consequent encroachment of the OTE, which is roughly the 70.8% level. Let's see something. To the tick. That's where it traded to. Right to the tick. These two retracement candles. Well, let's see if we get a push up here. Because you may get one here. But only if we can close above. But keep in mind, this is on the 1 minute time frame, so it's a lower probability than the higher time frames. Or if it's similar power probability, the range is going to be smaller. So you shouldn't expect for price to basically run away, but you should snatch something out of the market, put it in your pocket, and then wait for a higher time frame setup. What up, TJ? Good morning. Yep, absolutely, TJ. Yeah, no. So like, I hate it when I put a limit order in and then I put whatever my stop loss limit is, and then I cancel the limit order for the entry, but then the one for the stop loss, for whatever reason, I forget about it and it's still there. Those kind of things happen. Or you put a limit order in for wherever you want your TP to be. It goes to where it was supposed to be, and instead of canceling you out, it enters you in a trade in the opposite direction. Yep. Mm. Price is unwilling to. Mm. Good advice. Thank you for that, Ray. We're bearish. Hang on one, Milad. Give me a second. Is this also April 15th, the one that's above us? Sure is. Okay. And that is from 222 up to 260. Huh, that's weird. I don't. I don't know why it's not showing. I get it. I bet you it's more than 300 bars back. Let me go on the, see, it's right here. 22 to 60. Yep. So I can draw it on there, but for whatever reason, it's too far back the for the indicator to do it. You know what? Let me add it back in and see if that helps. There it is. Jeez. I was wondering why it wasn't up there. Oh, my bad. Didn't have my settings proper. All right, so we're out of the macro now. Let's shift this stuff over. Right. Looks like we have price moving higher now. That's good. Let's see how it reacts when it responds, when it makes it up here. Not only do we have a 30-second breaker, so not a lot of stock in that one. It's only 30-second. It's already delivered what it was meant to do, meant to send price lower. So we got a pattern that sent price lower. However, we do have a rather large hourly fair value gap above. And so with those two things, I want to see how price reacts once it makes it up to 18,223. push through that fair value gap on the lower time frame. Oh, Sadia, congrats. Good job. Way to go. Mm. See if this breaker gives 30 points. This would be like a 1.5. If you take 30 points, let's see. If you take the high, it'd be 1.8. However, we do have the breaker here, so I don't want to. We're already at consequent encroachment. Went long at 197, closed at 23. Good job, Brad. Way to take 25 out. Of the 930 candle. All right, Snipe. This area. Cleaner to see. $92 entry with a tight stop loss. So we'll see. We'll see how that works. Going long. Fib and the fair value gap align. We'll see a reaction. This 1.618. Okay. All right, sniper. Thank you for that. Yep. So we got one just formed right here. All right, halfway through the hour now. Looks like this breaker here is not going to be relevant any longer, although it hasn't yet been invalidated. It here. Possibly Milad. I'm not sure. We still got another hour and a half left, so I'm not gonna cancel out this morning's session. I mean, you gotta remember, the opening bell was just an hour ago, so we're still early. We just started. All right, I'll be back in just give me 2 minutes. I need to refill my coffee. Be right back. Thinking this was a 1 minute situation. Oh, yeah, I think this was a 1 minute situation here. So let's see if it holds. Maybe it will. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. confirmed. We're not taking liquidity for the 1 hour forever, which can see price reverse direction. Okay. Yeah, Dow has been on its own program for some time now. Okay, so Topstep X has sort of a accountability partner built in, or a performance coach. Alawi, um, why do you think it will go down? Can you give us some insight to help us out? All right, about 6 minutes before the next macro, 10:50 to 11:10. 18.29 shorting. Okay. Yeah, I see the dollar is moving. It's just now into the fair value gap there, but the breaker's just above it. Yes, Loot, I'm still streaming. I just, you know, I'll have some moments where I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, me too, Queen. I took a long at 9:13, but I put a really tight stop loss in there because of the 5-minute bearish breaker. In fact, I'm already at break even here. Dollar, yep, still in the fair value gap. We're retracing now on the Dow back into last hour's range. S&P and Nasdaq have not taken out last hour's high. So unlike the Dow took out the high and then started to retrace back into the range, similar to the other two. Whereas these two are the last hour's highs are up here or over here, and it hasn't quite. Oh, no, I'm sorry. These highs from the opening bell hasn't quite made it up there yet. But yeah, we'll need to see the dollar start to fail and push lower if there's going to be an upwards push here. Yep. I just moved my stop loss to 10 handles, Queen, and now I'm just going to see if it hits my TP at 233. I didn't put it on the high. I put it on this one right here. See if it can eclipse this high right here. All right, macro, here we are. Let's see if we can get up there. Yeah, I closed it at the top of the breaker at 229. So I'll watch the rest and see where it goes from here. But yeah, I shut my trade down. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, we had the same thing here where we had equal lows. There was a slight dip below, and that was enough for me to say, okay, when we get back in here, I'll take an entry. And that's how I ended up getting 193 as an entry. But it was after the sweep of these two lows here. Although it's still relatively smooth. It's not like it made a deep retracement past those equal lows. And that was another reason for the short sort of TP, not really looking. Because originally I really wanted to try to see if we can get the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap above us. Yep, that happens a lot, Vivian. I can't tell you how many times I've been up 30 handles and close my trade with a 5 handle profit because I'm in with one contract. Okay, see, it's moving back up. Where did I say I wanted to get out at 133 or 233? I mean, so it's almost there. Because I'm sure I'm a broken record now, but you guys always hear me talk about getting 30 points, right? Which is right there. But since I was able to get in at 193, just below the consequent encroachment area, 30 points was actually much lower. So anyway, we'll wait for the next setup. We are in the macro, so let me drop down to the 1 minute. Let's get rid of this. Boom, look at that. And here's consequent encroachment. We'll say when it reclaimed, because we did get a small close below right here at 1029, 1030, but it immediately traded back inside. Then we had equal lows, 4 of them, swept below those lows, traded higher, created a fair value gap, reclaimed and traded above and closed above the breaker. So then that just reactivated the unicorn setup. In fact, over here, when the breaker was created, there wasn't a unicorn. We couldn't find a fair value gap. So it created it over here. And for all the OTE traders, gave you 6 entries right here, or 5 plus this one. All right, there's consequent encroachment. Right where the name is here is CE, so that's 242. So it's already made it to that level. Now let's see if it wants to turn around or continue higher. We are seeing retracement from the dollar, which is what we were hoping to get at this very moment, which also would support bullish momentum from the indices. Since we're in the macro, we can quickly take a look at the trading. So just a few minutes ago, we were still inside of the fair value gap with the dollar. So it traded inside. Now we see it failing below. Get rid of this. And this type of bullish momentum we see from the indices was not the case just 5-6 minutes ago. But we can see it's already eclipsed the high of last hour and showing a very strong candle for this hour. All right, let's get back over. Hmm, 251. All right, congrats, Ray. Of the 1 hour fair value gap, the bearish fair value gap that we're inside of right now, Queen. It's from April 15th. I have a question now. How's the stream going? I noticed the settings on the daily stream was at low latency, which I'm not sure exactly how many seconds delay that is. But there was one more setting I can move it to was ultra low latency, and so I switched it over to ultra low. So you should see a very, very slight delay between real time and when it's displayed to you. So if you notice any stuttering in the video, let me know. But it should be a little closer to being live. Queen, I had the same issue. If you're using the same indicator I'm using, just make sure you have enough bars because it's April 15th. So I had to go to max bars at 500. And then the length of the box, you can make it as high as 99. That's if you're using the same indicator. I'm just making an assumption here. So I had to stretch it out and then also tell the indicator to go back more bars, and then it found it. But if you need to manually draw it, it's April 15th. Good job, Vivian. Way to see price. 255. There we go. All right, so we have our upper half, and then we have our upper quadrant. Mm. Okay. Yeah, Queen. If you do that, if you change those settings, it'll draw it in for you. So you just got to make the length of the bars 99, and then the look back period 500. Okay. Yeah, Vivian, to be honest with you, there's been several times where I'm in a trade before the macro and we get right around um, 40, 43, something where it's less than 10 minutes before the macro starts and price starts acting funny. And there's been several moments where I've closed my trade because of that, only to watch the macro start 7 minutes later. And then price takes off and in one or two candles delivers TP. So yeah, definitely check that out. I'm going back, looking at the macro time period, looking at when the TP is delivered, when the trade is activated, when your entry is traded into, those kind of things, and just look at the time. And what I found during my back testing is a lot of times the macro is delivering not only the validation and entry, but also TP levels. Yep, no problem, Queen. It got me this morning too because when we did the opening bell and price traded up and it hit the April 15th lunch level, lunch high, I believe. And then I looked for the breaker and saw that it was going to sell. I had no idea that we were inside of a 1 hour bearish fair value gap from April 15th. And it was because my indicator wasn't showing it. So I had to make that fix. Yes. Yep. Yep. You're right. We definitely have a 4 hour bearish fair value gap that closes. We will completely close it up if we make it up to 260 and are able to close. Okay, well, we just started a 4 hour candle at 10. So we have to check back after 2 o'clock and see if we are above 260. Yeah, but I think on the 4 hour, we're in a buy. We're currently inside of a buy model. Hey, Splash, what's up? Good morning. Oh, yes. Okay. But 17,395. Jeez. Where are you looking to exit? Splash, you're up 900 points or 850. Great. So we've exhausted this macro. Shifted to the back half of the hour, 1150 to 1210. So we're seeing price trade up to consequent encroachment of the gap here. Then we've seen it trade up to 75% of the gap above. It did not close above. However, it rejected back into the range and now retested 50% again. Okay, as this is your swing point here, we want to see this third leg get traded above. All right, so it has traded above that. So we feel a bit more comfortable that price will now target the swing high. Now, it's not guaranteed, but it is a good chance that it will happen. Yeah, Splash, one thing I noticed is that since last week, we haven't taken out the 5-minute protected low. Now, I probably need to adjust it now, um, just based on where things is, but it'll likely shift up to right here. Then we saw, now we see this one here. So it took out this high. So now it's probably in this range, but the 5-minute protected low has not been swept since maybe Thursday of last week. So yes, if you're in a trade since then and you just keep your stop loss below the 5-minute protected low, then you're still in the game. Mm, well, buy side is at 350. So you're saying go another 80 or 90 points. It could absolutely do that. It could also trade into a consequent encroachment of that candle, that 4-hour candle. That's April 15th, 6 a.m. that candle. So basically trade a little bit into the wick and then reverse. For me, that level, I want to see where we are at 2 o'clock. I want to make sure that we trade above and close above. Yep. Um, well, I don't know if it's necessarily bearish, but you gotta remember we're now also trading above this level. Let me look at the 1 hour. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if on the 4 hour time frame, if we get a close above 260, then absolutely, yeah, I'm looking at that swing high to be gone, to be the next in line. If we get a failure, then yeah, we're probably not necessarily bearish, but we could see some consolidation, or we could at least see a decent size retracement after what we just saw from 10:30 up until 11. So we have about a half-hour push. I like 10:30 as a time frame for reversal. So during your back testing, look for that. Look and see how often price reverses at 10:30. Okay, so we did get a trade above 260.75. We just need price to close there. Let's see now where it wants to trade, whether it wants to fill in some of these fair value gaps prior to moving higher. Um, we do have when price moved above this price leg, remember pushing down, which then propel price above the morning highs, it will want to trade back and balance this area. Fair value gaps here will be a good area, probably this one. Go ahead and mark this one up. Let's also take a look at the range. All right, so we have discounting prices starting below 224. We have the fair value gap here sitting right at 61.8 at the start of our OTE. Okay. Oh, nice. Looks like so far this price leg is the exact same size as this price leg. Everyone, if you could do me a favor, if you're enjoying the stream this morning, if you could hit the thumbs up button, make sure that YouTube understands that you are enjoying the stream. $260 sniper. All right, took a short there. You're up 10 already, and you took zero heat. You got in and was immediately in profit. Good entry, great entry actually. Yep. Yeah, Ray, I see what you're saying on the weekly time frame. If we can close above the weekly CIBI's consequent encroachment, um, then we basically have a face-off between weekly CIBI and a weekly BISI next week, and see who takes that level where the previous all-time high was at 17,957. So that could make next week quite interesting if we can close above, I guess, around 18,000. Just to add on to that a little bit, when I was doing my markup this past weekend, when I looked at the current levels and where I thought price might go, I had marked up 17,800 as an area for this week for price to trade to. And since let's see, and we did trade lower than that yesterday, but I thought we might hang out there for a bit. I'm sorry, not yesterday. That was last week. We traded lower, so we haven't traded there this week yet. But 17,800 is an area I thought we might trade to. All right, we're gonna get another retest of the fair value gap here. Oh, Sniper took 2 points of heat here. Just two handles. Oh, no problem. No problem, Lisa. Have any other questions? Just let me know. Right there. Now let's look at the smaller time frames. Go to the 3 minute first. All right, you can take two approaches here. This is probably the safest approach if you're looking for a bearish breaker. You need something to close below 240. You want to be more aggressive with it. You could take this swing high down to this low. It's not as high probability as this one, but it does give you a better entry just in case it does work out. Slide down to the 1 minute. All right. Love this one because if we can enter right here, take it down 30 points. That puts us right here in the sweet spot that I thought we could retrace to. So let's see if that works out. That's my prediction. Nice, sniper. All right. See if you can get this one. 50-50 here for me, depending on the 240-260 level. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. DXY is buying back up into that fair value gap that it rejected last hour. It's right back up, retesting, but it's digging deeper this time. It's already eclipsed the high of last hour. Let's see if that sends prices lower here for the indices. And then when we get down to around 220-ish, that area, let's see how the dollar's trading and if things flip. All right. Snipe, I hear you talking about your trades are bad, but I don't know what you're talking about. Not looking at this one. You're in break even now. Sweet. All right. Let's see if we get a sweep of this low. Make you feel a little bit more comfortable, Sniper. Right, retest the breaker. It's also 11:30. Let's see if being half of the hour, if we get a reversal here and get price to push lower. Let's pull this across. See if it holds now. Nice rejection, the last second of the candle. All right. Keep in mind, there's no closures above this candle, the 11 o'clock candle wick. You haven't gotten a body closure above. See if we get another fair value gap here. But we also need to close below 240. All right, 10 seconds. Remember I said this was a more aggressive one, and then this was your more conservative approach here. All right, so we did get a closure below, so now this becomes a breaker. All right, when this one closes, let's hope we have a fair value gap here, because then that'll be this breaker's unicorn. Okay, there we are. All right, unicorn number 2. Just above consequent encroachment of OTE and just below the fair value gap. So will it make 30 points? We'll see. I know it's a lot on the screen right now, but hopefully you've been following. Tell you what, well, let me remove these. We'll come back and check on these in a bit. Right, so it's inside of the fair value gap here. Let me just remove these measuring tools. I'll come back at the end of the hour and we'll measure to see how price action did. But this is what we're looking at right now. Looking at a smaller unicorn inside of a larger unicorn. We have this area that sent price down. So let's see if it trades there. Consequent encroachment there is the same as consequent encroachment of the breaker. So that's at 248. Oh, funny queen. All right. Yeah, normally I can, even when my screen is messy, I can see through all of the mess. But I'm trying to be aware that there's others who may be looking at my screen and it's probably too messy for you. You know, let's see if price returns here. The consequent encroachment of this hourly fair value gap has, as you can see, been holding price. We traded below it, but immediately traded back above, traded down, kind of got stuck there. Now we're pushing up again. Okay. Sniper, I think the better question is, how'd you get in at 261? Help us get in at your level. Price is setting up these equal lows right here. So we're expecting to push down at least below these equal lows soon. And hopefully we got equal lows right here as well at 234. Oh, 15-second market structure shift. Okay. Mm. Candle. 5-minute bullish breaker. Let me check that out. Yep. Okay, yeah, I see where you are, what you're talking about, Queen. Yeah, I really believe that price wanted to trade down here before taking that bullish breaker higher. And that's why I have the trade exiting here. Um, and it just kind of aligned with the 30 points that I like for breakers to achieve. We do have the 1 hour bullish breaker down. I'm sorry, bullish fair value gap. Or maybe it's 5 minutes. Maybe it's a 5 minute. But anyway, yeah, I believe that price wanted to trade down here, find support, and then go higher. But we'll see. We'll see. Right now, it's looking like about a 50-50 chance here. And we do have the macro coming in 3 minutes. Just hit consequent encroachment of its more aggressive breaker up high. Okay. Right. Allowed to close above 250 here. Now we have inverted fair value gap on the 1 minute. Sort of. I mean, you got to remember this one right here already was invalidated before. I was just seeing if it was going to be relevant, but it was already invalidated by these two candles at 11:28 and 29. Right. Mm. Sniper, did you say you exited at 240? Right. Let's see if this is trend line liquidity with this low, and this low. Remember, these are equal lows we expect to be swept. Also here, equal lows we expect to be swept. Oh, okay, 241. Got it. All right, here we are in the macro. Let's see where price wants to go. Oh, same setup in London. Okay. Yeah, London looked. It looked like it was. Well, when I look back at it, it looked like it had a sort of a seek and destroy profile. So after you got 30 points or so, maybe 40, you want to look to exit your trade this morning. All right, another 9 minutes in our session this morning. If we have any final questions or comments or anything, go ahead and put it in the chat now, so we make sure that we acknowledge it prior to ending the morning session. 156. It took some profits. Oh, sweet. Nice, sniper. Good job. Oh, that could be. Sony, not always, but if I can, I like to. And I don't always take the entry at the fair value gap, but I like to see a fair value gap form, which allows for more confirmation and more comfort that the setup is going to work. Yeah, that's a good point. If you find a breaker on the 5 minute, if you drop down to the 1 minute or the 2 minute, you'll probably find a fair value gap there that you can use. Okay, so on the hourly, the dollar has just pushed right through that fair value gap up to consequent encroachment of the breaker that we identified this morning, the bearish breaker. Better on the body. Wick to body. Yeah, let's do that. We still need another push lower. That wasn't enough. All right, the Dow has been pushing lower this hour, but doing so on its own. The S&P and Nasdaq have both been bullish this hour. That's what I wanted to see. All right, Sniper, catch you tomorrow. Take care. Yep, let's see if we get a push lower from here. Or if price just kind of stalls since we're heading into lunch. We'll have another 10 minutes on the macro. First 10 minutes at 12 o'clock. We're trading into a city here on the 1 minute. Let's see if it rejects out. Closes lower. We still got 30 seconds left. All right, that'll do it for the morning session. It didn't invalidate that bearish fair value gap that was just created on the 1 minute. So we'll hold the trade and see how things work out here. But that ends our morning session. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for the participation in the chat. Yeah, all the advice that everyone's been giving, it's been excellent. We'll take a break for an hour. We'll come back at 1300 and do an afternoon session. On your way out, make sure you like the stream. We have less than 60 likes, and we've had quite a number of people watching this morning. So if you like the stream, make sure that you let me and YouTube know by hitting the thumbs up button. If you're brand new, make sure you also subscribe so you're getting invitations to every time that we do a live stream here. With that being said, take care, everyone. I'll see you in an hour.